ready to work here on the galley sink. We're going to pull it out so that again I can get at the drains through hole that goes out the side and is in a dark corner over here. I don't know how easy this is going to be to get off. I don't know how it's attached there, maybe some caulk or something like that, so going to have to see how that goes. Right now it's just the relatively easy, well, it's so dark in there, but the relatively easy job of just detaching some of those hoses down there. So we'll see how all this transpires. But, well, as anybody who's ever done any boat work probably already knows, it took me a little bit longer to get those hoses off, the drain hoses off than I thought, but they're now off, and we're ready to start working on pulling the sink out now. So gonna get out the heat gun and see what I can do, but not too exciting underneath there, but you can see the hoses, drain hoses are off. But the job is coming along. It's probably about 2 hours or so after I last took some video. Things are progressing, but I'm also realizing they're a lot more difficult than I had anticipated. The caulk underneath here appears to be 5200. It might be something else, but it is really on there good. And there's also a ton of it. Somebody got really excited to use the caulk, and so it's very difficult to get off with the using the heat gun, using the chisels here, and I'm also trying not to bend it too much. Although I imagine that I can fix it if I do bend it, and there is a couple places where I have bent it, like right here, but because it's on so well, I wasn't able to get a chisel over around here, or too far on this side here, so I'm now in the process of dismantling this piece of molding, and got the bung holes out, and of the fiddle, and got those screws out. Did the same thing over here on the corner, because I don't know if you can see, but there's this, is on sort of on top of it, the joinery here, and sort of came to the conclusion. Read a little Don Casey to help me to this conclusion, but figured out that there's probably some adhesive, some glue in here. So I am off to Lowe's to go pick up a putty knife or two. He says just sharpen up the putty knife and then bang it in here to break the adhesive bond. I sure hope he's right. I hope they weren't using 5200 or something like that in there. This is turning into a lot more than I had anticipated, but that I probably should have imagined was going to happen. We will see. Okay, back from Lowe's, and had some decent success since then. I'll show you what's up. So ended up having to take these off so I could get behind here. Got this piece off. Once I came back with the putty knife, it was really easy. I just gave it a little couple whacks with the rubber mallet, and this thing popped off. I did crack that piece right there, which really stinks, but hopefully we'll be able to sort of glue back together without too much problem. Oh, well, we've got some success without too much additional problems. It was a absolute bear to get the sink out. There was so much 4200 on it, not just holding it in place, but then on the out, had it dripped down, and so just to get that huge lip of caulk past the lip here was just extremely difficult. But I finally got it out. It's sitting up in the cockpit, and this is going to be the access to the through hull. It's not so bad. I'll be able to work on it. I think for sure. I haven't really reached in there yet, but that's so much better than trying to get in through this little door here and reaching over. I've obviously got a huge mess here. Fortunately I've been kind of vacuuming up as I go, so there's not too much sawdust and caulk and stuff like that around, but just tools everywhere. and just some straightening to do and stuff like that. So I will be cleaning that up, and I'll be really happy to relax and have a beer or something like that. Yeah. All right. Well, we're cleaned up. Feeling pretty good about things. You know, I mean, there's there's some decent bends to the edges of the sink. In fact, I'll show you right here. You can probably see that one down in the corner closest to us there. That's probably the worst of it, because that was the really tough corner to get off. But I think we'll be able to fix those, or somebody in the yard will be able to fix those for us. I also just don't know how we would have gotten it off without doing that. On the other side, the good side of things is I learned quite a bit. I had really almost no problems taking off the fiddles here. A lot more confident about taking apart some of this woodwork if we need to, or I guess when we need to in the future. I also, I'm really happy that we got this apart, because it's going to allow me to get working on that through hole and fix that. It also, Margaret, I know, wants to redo the countertops and maybe get a different sink in there and stuff like that. And, I now feel like I know how this stuff is put together. I know what we'll be getting into when we do it. And while it will certainly be a lot of work, it will be worth it in the end. And so, I'm ready to do that job maybe next year or something like that. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. Take it easy, guys.